This is your 20-minute podcast, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now, here's your host, David Brower.
This is David Brower with your 20-minute podcast, and our special guest from Queensland, Australia today is Ross Keating, the client orchardist. And hey, Ross, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Hello, David, and thank you very much for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here.
There's a lot of things for us to talk about, but the first question that people are going to want to know is, what is a client orchardist?
Well, it's just a bit like an orchardist in the trees growing fruit. I say that you've got databases of prospects, customers, and contacts, and they are what you can harvest and farm and grow like fruit trees. You want to keep your business for a number of years, and they are in your business available to you for quite a number of years. And you want to treat them like trees, pick up the low-hanging fruit, and then you got to get the ladders to get to the higher fruit. So you have to be a bit more expertise. But overall, you want to do it. It's a lot cheaper to grow existing trees and harvest them from existing trees than it is to go and get a whole new tree.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And I think that's one of the first thing. I used to train salespeople in the radio industry for a long time, and there were two main things that we always talked about. And one is, it's unbelievably easier to keep a good client than it is to go out and find a good client, you know?
So is, and I think a lot of businesses are struggling, particularly where they do have a bricks and mortar location, as opposed to being in business to business. A lot of them rely, and the bigger they are, rely on people coming into the store, but they still really don't want to know about me as an individual or you as an individual. They take your loyalty card, but they just send you messages, hey, we get discounts this year. Or this week. Tend to work with businesses up to around about 150 to 100 people. A lot of them are the smaller size, 10 to 50. They're doing more themselves, but they know they want some assistance, and they have the mechanisms to be able to put in place. They're, I could say, established businesses wanting to achieve their revenue targets and increase profits.
And are they, as I read through your bio and stuff, which is beyond impressive, it appears to me that one of your major focuses is about customer relationships and CRMs, but I also saw a 90-second video that you have all about love, and I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, that was really fun putting together. I was trying to, as you know, videos get more engagement on your website, and people should do that. And I was having those done, and the producer of that video, we were doing it in a day as a group of us, and he just made it a bit more fun. The whole idea is to show customers the love and get them closer to you, to understand them. And that was the concept of going behind that. And it's got a good response from that because people have engaged with it.
I bet so, because it was so well done, and you were so comfortable in sharing the message, and that allowed it to come through. It was very authentic. And I mean, 40 seconds in, you're going, all right, I'm hooked. I'm watching the whole video, because it just felt so good.
It was. And the whole thing about it, that's about customer relationship management and customer experience. You showed them a love. 67% of people, a study back by the American Quality Society, they did a study, and 67% of people leave a business because of perceived indifference. They don't know whether you love them or not.
Wow.
Tell me you like me or tell me you don't, but tell me something. But they walk out the door, and remember, 9 out of 10 people walk out that door and they don't tell you. And so the 10th person who does, that's one of your most loyal customers.
Absolutely right. And those other 9 that are walking out that are feeling indifferent or not loved or whatever, they're going to share that experience with other people, and they're probably going to consider going to your competitor as well, right?
They are, and they're 5 or 6 times harder. I saw some stats the other day. they're 5 or 6 times harder to get back as a customer once they leave you, and they're not upset with you. You just haven't shown the love that you appreciate their service.
Yeah.
Or their custom and their dollars.
So what are some of the things that you teach your clients about?
It's getting to know them, and it's not a rush. You're there in business for maybe another 10 to 15 years, and your customers might be with you over a period of time, or they might be only with you for 18 months, 2 years. Some people it's a one-time only purchase, but in most cases, they're going to come back, and it's getting to know them. Take the time to get to know them. And it really is the old adage of, when we were young, our mum and dad used to know the butcher and the baker. That made a real difference. And from that perspective, that's what you've got to do. Get their permission to know them as well. You get to know them, then you say, look, do you mind if I take your email address? Do you mind if I send you the odd e-newsletter? But get to understand them and listen to signals. And I don't know whether you've done renovations on a house at some stage. My wife and I had a house, and the guys were there, and we'd say, in a couple of years, we're going to put a big deck on the back here overlooking it, and we'd like to do some changes to the house. Not one of those tradies contacted us. They came back. Not one of them contacted me in 18 months and said, hey, you were talking about putting your deck on. And, we spent $52,000 improving that, putting that deck on and making a change to the house within 3 years.
I had the same experience, really. I hadn't thought about it for a while, but we had a pretty good hailstorm here a year ago, and so there was a lot of roof damage around, and so some of these guys were walking around and pitching their wares and hey, let me give you a free estimate, and let me check out your roof and all this kind of stuff. And most of them I just didn't feel genuine to me. But this one guy came up, very professional, very nice, packet of information on his company with references and all those kinds of things. And I said, you know what, I'm thinking we're probably going to replace this roof. Okay, it's a year later. I still haven't heard from him.
Oh, no. And there's just a lost bit. I mean, I don't know what quote he gave you, but even if it was, say, $1,200, that's $1,200 he's got to find from somewhere else. But you said, come and see me.
Yeah.
We've got to listen to the signals, and this is where we can use technology to help us, because if we're going around, you can have maybe 120 to 200 relationships which you can manage on an effective basis without too much technology to do it. But once you get over that, you want to remember that, hey, I've got to contact David Bauer in 9 months to talk about his roof. Then you want to have that so it pops up. So that's where technology like customer relationship management systems, I use Nimble CRM, there's Salesforce, Zoho, there's over 300 CRMs on the system, on the market. You can use any one of those, all have the basic features you need, and you can then get smarter with marketing, automation and things. But the basics is keep some information and keep in contact. And mortgage brokers, finance brokers tend to be people who don't do that. And one of the companies I did some work with one time a while ago, because they were larger and it was starting out into the customer relationship management and getting to know them, is a finance company. And they gave me 40,000 customers and asked me to put a strategy in place, because those customers had not heard from a representative of that company between 2 and 5 years at least.
Oh my goodness.
They had to send one communication. These people stayed because they had long-term policies, but they never got anything. So what we did is we sent them out the communication that had to go out every year, and we put a direct mail piece in saying, we appreciate your business, but would you like to know a bit more about these products, because we haven't talked to you for a while. We had more than a 10% response rate, and the sales rates were really fantastic, and we estimated that the annual premium income driven from that actual campaign that cost us $800 for one bit of paper generated about $1 million in annual income.
My
not once. That was going to come in for the rest of the life of the policies, different policies they took out.
Sure.
But so it's there. And I had another client where we were putting out a newsletter, an e-update out to the database.
Yeah.
And he said, it's costing us $120 to send it out. And that money was spent on the graphic design and putting stuff together and making a nice layout. And I said, well, yeah, he said, it's not working. I said, well, have you had any inquiries? He said, yeah, I had quite a few inquiries. I said, have you had any, you given quotes? Yeah. He said, I said, well, how many quotes did you give for the last newsletter? Just one newsletter, this is. He said, I sent out 3 quotes and they totaled just over $60,000. I said, right, it's not working. I said, okay, well, just tell me how many of those sold. He said, none of them are sold, but I know that 2 of them will buy their product within the next 2 months, and they did. And the other one, he has already sent the order in, but we just haven't completed the invoice, but he sent the order in, but he was going to, but he saw the newsletter and it reminded him to get the quote. And I said, so $120 and $60,000 in equipment that you're 90% certain you're going to get in, it's not working? He said, maybe it is working. And again, that's showing the love. The newsletters don't have to be product orientated. They were more about tips and traps and also, hey, the special of the month or the week or whatever. But the focus was 80%. And in marketing, people will tell you, like, anything that goes out, it's like an 80-20 rule, even 90-10 rule. Make it 80% about them, 10% about you, and 10% about your products.
Absolutely right. Yeah, the 80-20 rule has survived generation after generation after generation, hasn't it?
It has. It's
fascinating to me. Yeah.
I say to people, it's not rocket science. It's if I can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, it's just going out there. People have talked about it for decades. It goes back to Edward Deming. He was talking about customer relationship way back. And then you've came through with people like John Ferrara, Dr. Martha Rogers, and Don Peppers in the 90s talking about it. And we've got all the experts today with social selling.
Yeah. And with social media and the technology of CRMs, I mean, you've got opportunities there. I mean, back in the day, it was all about word of mouth, and now you've got the opportunity to do word of mouth on steroids. I mean, there's so many opportunities to touch people in meaningful ways without being obnoxious.
You're right. And part of it is the listening thing and the watching and interacting and getting to know your people. When people buy from you and I, they've researched you online, and also they're taking other people's comments in, but also how you present yourself and how you talk about things and how you're interacting with other people and the expertise that you have in your particular area. But you can get to know them a little bit, and over time, with one of my clients, I've been working with them for over 10 years now, Gary Rogers from Splitwater, high pressure cleaners down here in Queensland. And I've got to know him really well as a friend. And so I know he likes cars, and he has a production model of one of the V8 cars that are raced down here in Australia. And he goes out on the tracks every week, and I make comments on his Facebook page. That's a touch. People talk about you.
Yep.
Keep in touch. Liking a photograph of somebody on there, I do it genuinely because Gary and I got on really well together.
Right.
But that's an indication that you like that. If one of your clients, maybe you saw them away on a holiday and they was skiing up in Utah. At the moment, for example, you might put a comment there. That's keeping in touch, and you don't have to be cheesy. And you've got to do it with genuineness, authentic. I say the customer relationship is building authentic, trusted relationships with people so they want to do business with you.
It is, at the end of the day, it really is about integrity, authenticity, and having those, I think touch is the right word, having those touches be real genuine and considerate and not in people's face. Yeah,
you look at it over time. If people buy from you today, how long before they buy from you again? When's likely they're going to buy from you again? My wife doesn't go and buy clothes today, tomorrow, and next week. She might buy some now, and then 2 or 3 months later, as the seasons change, she's looking to buy and update a few things in the wardrobe.
Right.
That's You want to take that into account. How often does somebody get their house repaired, roof on the house repaired? Possibly 10, 15 years is a good time to do it. So they're not going to do that, but that roofer might have come to you and found out you have some investment properties. So why wouldn't he keep in contact and say, do you have any investment properties that you want the roof repaired or the gutters replaced?
You bet.
And it's keeping in contact. And also remember, when people have contacted you in complex retail or business to consumer products and services and business to business, they're somewhere between 57 and 70% of the way through their decision-making process when they contact you, because they've researched you, your company, your products, and your competitors online, and they're narrowing it down. So social media and the tools give you the chance to get your information out in so many different places. If you take the main five, for example, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube, that are five, and then you've got all, Instagram's really taking off now, and there's Snapchat. You've got to be out there so people are seeing you out there. It's like the old story. Like we used to sit there waiting for the telephone to ring. Well, we'd never told anybody that the telephone was there. We had a telephone number. You have to go out and tell people you got a telephone guy.
I know, right?
That's a free e-guide. If they want an easy way to do it is send me a message by Facebook or LinkedIn. Quite happy. It's just a 27-page giving them an idea how to make relationships. And I'm quite happy to have it. Like you and I, we're talking on the phone. We can do Zoom and Hangouts, Google Hangouts, to contact. And I'm quite happy to have an initial chat with anybody online to do that. And again, the easiest way is to find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Send me a message, and I'm quite happy to give a 30-minute discussion with people free of charge, no obligation, to help them with any questions they have or challenges or opportunities they want to quickly discuss. And we can see whether I can help them in any way.
Go to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and look for Ross Keating, Keating, and he's got that ebook that's available for you, 27 pages, and he can make you aware of that. And for a 30-minute free consultation, I don't care how big your business or how small your business is, if you're curious or feel like you're under-delivering the love to your customer base, Ross is going to be the guy to reach out to.
Yeah, and David, the thing is, I've always taken an attitude that if I'm not the right guy, I'll direct you to somebody who can assist you better than I can, because it's not about me, it's about the people. It's about you. How can I help you get what you want? How can I put you in touch with people that want to have David Bauer as their voiceover artist?
Yep.
If I'm not the right person, I'll point you in the right one. I've made a habit of doing that for the last 5 years or so. Just about every client I've walked in, I've introduced one or two other specialists who can do it quicker, better, and faster, and it's better for all of us.
Absolutely right. It's Ross Keating, Keating, the Client Orchardist, and look for him on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/your 20-minute podcast.
Until next time, don't forget to download your free audiobook at audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast. That's audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast for your free audiobook. And thanks for listening to Your 20-Minute Podcast with David Brower.